Hey friends and family, checking in before I go to the studio. I'm in the studio today with Tom Ware, who was nominated for a Grammy this year for working on Lady Gaga's record. He mastered Dereck 3. Today we're going to work on remastering Dereck 2 for vinyl. I put up on Reverb Nation the song Glass. It's not a new song. I've actually played it on camera before. There's a video of me playing along to it. But that's one of the songs I'm going to be putting on Dereck 2, replacing War Statement and Undying Devotion. I'm bumping those two and I'm putting on Glass, Sky at Sunset, and High Spirits. So in less than an hour, I go to the studio to work on that. I have 15 copies left of Dereck 3. Come and get them. This weekend we have Record Store Day, which I'm pinching my pennies, so I'm not really looking to spend a lot. The main thing I want to get is the Icky Blossoms Record Store Day 7-inch single. There's only 1,000 copies of that, so I definitely want to get that. I really don't have my mind set on anything else. If I could get the Tomahawk box set, I would. We'll see. But there's also a record show this weekend in Omaha. Funnily enough, one of the a guy who owns a record store down in Lincoln, Nebraska, gets a hold of me through Facebook and says, "Make sure you bring me one of those to the record show this weekend." I never said I'd bring him one. Actually, I told him rather facetiously, or whatever the word is, that might be sold out by then, Stuart. We'll see. We'll see if I go. We'll see if I bring him one. You know, I'll say it openly if you watch my videos, Stuart. You know, you're a lovely person, but man, your prices over the years have been pretty steep. You know, but you're still open, so I guess, you know, you're doing something right. So maybe you got to do that. Anyway, I wanted to just share that yesterday I had a little bit of time to well, I relaxed a little bit and I went and visited a friend that ended up turning into work. He's going to be coming to my house next Tuesday to record some more tracks. Interacted with Rick Agnew and the rest of RAF about the tour. It's shaping up already. Looks like it's going to be the end of August, 1st of September. It does look like the Midwest to start with. If it's successful, if we do well, doing more touring with Rick is absolutely in the cards. What I really want to do, I'll just, you know, put the wish out there, is I like to go back. I want to go back to Europe, and if it's with Rick, that'd be great. And what I'd like to do with Rick is something he hasn't done and something I haven't done, is we would like to play in England. I'd like to play in England. Haven't done that yet, and it's really hard to get a gig in England. It is. Some of you other working musicians know what I'm talking about. It's a closed loop to get, especially to get into London. It's like you pretty much have to pay somebody. But anyway, that's what I'd like to do. But some music I listened to yesterday that I can show you, and some of it's on CD because, you know, I don't always listen to records, but I listened to this yesterday. Gah. Man, this is fantastic. This also reminds me that I'm getting requests again to talk about how do I make these records covers. How do you make them? I don't mean to be flip, folks. It's pretty simple. Use your iTunes, open it up. When you go to print, like, you know, when you go to print a list, it'll give you a menu. I use the Mosaic. Okay, once I print the cover out, if you need measurements, the easy thing to do, in my opinion, is to just take another CD cover like this. I know you have them, and measure it out. Look on the inside. Look at how they have the flaps. I put the flaps on the front. I cut the flaps above the front graphic, not the back, so that I'm folding it back. Okay. I'm careful. It doesn't take me forever to cut. I'm just careful. That's why these look so professional. That's why the lines are so straight. You just take your time. Yeah, this could have been made. It looks like it from the front. It looks like you could have bought it, you know. You just take your time. Okay, I don't really feel like doing a how-to video about making CD covers. That's it, you know. I figured it out. It's really not that hard. It's just a matter of sizing it up. You know, once you print it out, size it up and experiment. Actually, before I was using the iTunes, I was doing that. I was sizing them up by eye because I'm not good with measurements, and figured out the right size finally through trial and error. Thank you for the comments about my collages. It is an ongoing thing, and I've done some more. And yeah, the process is coming. Actually went back and destroyed one that I just kept looking at. It was one of those that I called a riot of color, but it had no composition. And I looked at it and looked at it, and I couldn't salvage it. You know, it's like, how can I salvage this? And so I destroyed it. I took it off and started over. So I'll show you the one that I did in place of it. So the one that I destroyed, I replaced with this one, which you may not be able to see too well, but I'm real happy with how this came out. This is the one with the 3D back cover. So you can see the one I destroyed. It's on video. It's been preserved on video, but it's no longer here. These need to be seen in person to really appreciate the levels and the textures and the way that things are working together. Some music I've been listening to share. Played this the other night going to bed. Pictures of Matchstick Men by Status Quo. Their first big hit was a psychedelic song on the radio called Pictures of Matchstick Men, but you know they're kings of boogie, of English boogie. And what's funny is I put this on and I go to listen to it expecting psychedelia to start with. Starts off, it's status quo. I mean, they've been status quo from the beginning, which is boogie. So the psychedelic-y pop songs are the standouts. Most of this is just good old English boogie. So I listened to that. I posted in the vinyl YouTube community, the YouTube vinyl community on Facebook, that I was listening to this last night. And I listened to all of this last night because it was so good. This is the Chilean psychedelic music issue of Love, Peace, and Poetry. I love this series. I have 6 of them. I'd like to get all of them. But all the covers are the same model. Someone was really enamored with this woman. And they just did a top-notch job on compiling the songs, pressing the records. They're all on 180-gram vinyl. Some are on colored vinyl, like this one. Just a beautiful... Is this Pirates Press? No. I find myself doing that. No, but it's a beautiful, beautiful vinyl. And most of the songs in here... Matter of fact, there was one song where they really obviously rip off the intro to 25 or 6 to 4 by Chicago, but they don't play it. They just play the beginning of it, and they go into their own song, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's one of those things you can get away with when you're live in a country separate from the United States, and you don't have the same laws and copyright and all that mess. That was really enjoyable. I listened to that. I also listened to this Japanese band I don't know much about. It's a strange Apsaras. It's somewhere between folk, reggae, and Japanese music. It's wonderful. They sing in Japanese. I found this years ago. I just saw the cover. It was used. This came out in 1984. And I thought to myself, well, the cover that pretty, there's got to be some redeeming quality, and it turned out the record is really good. It's not rock, but it's really good. Real good. Apsaras. If you see it, buy it. I mean, you'll probably find it for $1 or something, I'm thinking. I think it's great. Listened to David Murray a little bit last night, New Life. And this one I had to kind of pick through because he plays a lot of blues on here. And as I've said many times, I got to be in the mood. Most of the time, I do not like to hear the blues changes. It just really brings me down. So I had to cherry pick through this to find the tunes that suited my mood. I did not want to hear any blues. David Murray, New Life, on Black Saint. So I enjoyed this. Got to meet David Murray 2 years ago. Really nice man. Soft-spoken. For some reason, I felt like playing this. It's a compilation called Made in Britain that I've had forever. This was my introduction to Comsat Angels. But I played the whole album to see what else was on here. Interesting that the way that I would describe this was that the label Polydor had one real good band and 3 other bands that they could probably sell, you know, commercial punk. The good band on here is Comsat Angels. The music stands out, just really obviously stands out head and shoulders above the rest of the bands. The other bands are okay. Invaders, Protex, XL, it's all this kind of scratchy pop, slightly catchy, post-new wave, punky type of sound that's just really forgettable. It was just, you know, when I listen to music, you know, depending on what I'm doing, I spend a lot of time thinking not only about the music, but about what's going on with the music. For me, I live. That's something I'll try to explain. How about the rest of you people? Maybe this ought to be a thread. How do you listen to music? When you listen to music, do you inhabit a world? Or do you just, or what do you do? A lot of times when I'm listening to music, I inhabit the world. I go there. Something else I was playing, I want to see if I can pull it to talk about it. Like if it's in the 60s, a lot of times I'll imagine clothing people are wearing, what's going on at the time, maybe what people were doing in their lives when they listened to this music, stuff like that. Other times I'll try to imagine being one of the musicians or the producer or the songwriter. What was happening? Why did they make this? What was he feeling? With that in mind, I listened on the computer. This record is extremely hard to find on vinyl. Do any of you have it? I've never seen a copy of it for less than $1,000, but Would You Believe by Billy Nichols. Critically, this is considered a lost pop psychedelic classic, and it is. I listened to it all the way through, including the extra tracks. I'd love to find even a reissue of this on vinyl. This is excellent. But what I was thinking, and is that I had just shown another record. Let me see if I can find it. Cambridge Concept. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I'll be getting myself ready to go to the studio in a minute. I'd shown you all this and made the same claim that this was an undiscovered pop classic, still waiting to be discovered. I'm going to bump it up and say that's absolutely the truth. This is as good. This is almost as good. I mean, this is classic. This is amazing. If you've never heard this, people that like music of the 70s and the 60s, English psych pop, you must hear this. This is fantastic. Also, Steve Marriott from the Small Faces and Humble Pie makes a very obvious cameo appearance on one song in here. You know, he just rips it up vocally to add some weight to this record. But again, what I'm saying is if you don't know this album and you like that sort of thing, look for this. This is incredible. It's fantastic. This is nearly as good. Almost. Not quite. This is so good that this, if you can find a copy of this, look this up. See if you can download it or something. You'll see what I mean. This is... I think what happens sometimes is that records don't become critically lauded because someone who is in a position to make it so hasn't found the record. I think that's the case with this. Someone who writes or has a job, who's in a position of telling the world, you should hear this, hasn't found it. So let me tell you, This is an undiscovered classic pop psych gem waiting to be discovered. This is excellent. Almost as good as this one, Would You Believe by Billy Nichols. That's some shit to look for, folks, okay? And as I look at the time here, I need to get ready to go. Just wanted to talk a little bit about music today. I hope it's a good one, people.